Well, good morning today. It is a sunny, actually, no, it's not sunny. No. It's a miserable Wednesday, hump day. We are talking about all things new versus old. My name is Anthony Barula and I'm joined with
Natalie Patterson.
Let's get back to it in one moment. Welcome back. Like I said this morning, we are talking about all things new versus old buildings, old builds. Which is better? Now, I do believe why we're talking about this topic this morning has stemmed from the brainchild of Natalie here, and she's actually got a very funny story to share with us.
So if anyone's a regular watcher, they will know all about my washing machine and the struggle I've had getting a new one. And good news, we finally got a new washing machine. But when it was installed last week, I got a call from my property manager saying, please come back to the property urgently. And apparently the person who installed it put the wrong pipes in, and all downstairs, my poor neighbors, their whole roof is nearly collapsed. They might need to get the whole ceiling replaced. And they were explaining that we got a plumber in, and he was explaining that because the building is old, all the pipes go through this one hole, and it's just gone all downstairs into the downstairs apartment. And it got me thinking, wow, what's better?
Do we think that that's the building's fault, or maybe your plumber's fault a little bit?
It was a bit of the install, but
it's a bit of deflection.
Yeah, there's going to be way more stories about my washing machine in the future. I'm still going to my mum's place to wash my clothes, but
I love that how you introduced it. You were like, okay, so everyone that knows about me and has watched me, you all know about my life, about my washing machine.
It's bad.
I know nothing about this. Well, let's rein it in and talk about new versus old buildings.
Yes.
So Natalie, I believe, like just from our little intro there, so you're obviously living in an older style building.
Yeah.
And what are the features of that older style building? When was it built? Is it double brick? Is there any kind of like 60s, 70s features that you see in there?
Yeah, so I live in Fairlight, and if anyone's well aware of the area, a lot of the buildings there are quite old, like solid, like typical red brick buildings. I personally love them. I love that whole Art Deco vibe. I live for the aesthetic. Some things like pipes and other things might not be the best. They come with the older builds, but so I've like arched hallways, like really pretty,
high ceilings,
high ceilings.
That traditional ornate older style build.
Yeah, like my doors are like the folding doors inside my apartment. You see that a lot. Next time you walk through Fairlight, you'll notice it. A lot of like stained glass, a lot of that. But yeah.
Do you think if you were to buy in your building, would you rather buy in an older style build, given that it does have issues like the plumbing or the piping, potentially the doors, the paint peeling? Or do you think that you would prefer, as a first home buyer, which you would you prefer something brand new, off the plan, good to go, slick, lush, and just beautiful, really?
Yeah, well, I think as a first home buyer, particularly, years off for me, but thinking of in the future, I think older builds are probably the way to go. And I think the big thing is strata. In a lot of the newer builds, strata, you do have to consider strata. But then saying that, you also do get access to a lot of facilities. So in a lot of these newer buildings that are coming in, you get a gym, pool, sauna, spa. I think it's really tossing up what's really important to you and your lifestyle that's going to really decide whether you want to go new versus old. And I'd love to hear what people think about this as well. I know Luke's already put his opinion in there, so
thank you, Luke.
But yeah, how about you, Xanthony? Because Xanthony, in case anyone doesn't know, Xanthony is sort of like part of sales. She's been helping out at opens, doing all that kind of jazz. So she's seen a lot of these newer and older buildings that we have on the market. I'd love to hear it.
Look, I do think it comes down to personal preference, whether you prefer something that has a little bit more character with an old building. It is generally a little bit easier to get your foot in the door with an older style building if you are a first home buyer. Whereas if you prefer something brand new, modern, sleek, that will be the next older building, then it's all a matter of personal opinion.
Yeah.
And like we were talking about this morning before we came live on air, it is really a matter of checking the strata, what you can and can't afford. And we do live by the beach, which means buildings are prone to things like weather erosion, salt erosion. So make sure you are looking at that strata. I personally do live in an older style building myself, and there are pros and cons of that. The pro would be because it's double brick, it keeps a lot of the heat out, so it is cooler in the warmer months. A con would be, for whatever reason, it was built without a balcony. And I don't know how people can build apartments without a balcony.
That's a really good point.
And my view is into my neighbour's kitchen and bathroom. So as much as I love my neighbours, I don't really love watching them cook their breakfast or do their morning number two.
No. Well, that's a really good point. Balconies, and I've talked about this on the show with Mark before. And I think that's one thing that will come in discussion with new versus old builds. It's these trends that are going to go in and out. So I think the most searched thing on realestate.com at the moment are 3-bedroom apartments.
That's true.
There's been a huge switch to working from home after COVID. People want a lot of flexibility in where they live. And a lot of these older buildings might not support that flexibility. So even something like having a balcony, having that extra bedroom, I think is what you'd see more in like these newer buildings.
Definitely. And like you had mentioned before, upgraded features. So whether or not that is something like the sauna, or you might have more of a secure access, the auto under secure basement garaging, things like that. So it is all a matter of personal preference and juggling up what you financially can and can't afford, and then looking to the future. So if you do buy into an older building in 10 years' time, what will that look like? Will there be much more erosion or many more issues that might pop up with that build?
Yeah. And I think one thing I have seen with a lot of the newer buildings, if we're talking about the pros of newer buildings, is they're really well located a lot of the time. I think I'm biased because I'm thinking about the Meriton and DY. But if you look at the Meriton, like where it is, like there's a whole retail precinct there. There's like the pool in the building, close to the beach. I think it's just tossing up a few of those factors.
We are definitely, I don't know, I'm getting all blurry as well.
Yeah, we're getting into
my
that
eyes for a
focus.
second. I'm not wearing my glasses, so it's a little bit like, we are definitely spoiled for choice here in the Northern Beaches, especially in DY. We've got everything within an arm's reach, and it wouldn't matter what kind of building you're living in, but like they say, things do get better with age. If you're thinking about a building like a wine, does it get better over time?
Oh, I know. Well, that's the thing. I think you need, I'm going into a really terrible analogy, but if you want to have a nice wine that you want to age well, you need to take care of it and put it in a good wine cellar.
Natalie, 100%.
Because it just got me thinking about where I am at the moment. So even my bathroom doesn't have a fan, which is something you wouldn't even think about, but like if I have a shower, I have to have the window fully open, otherwise I get mold all through my bathroom.
Yes.
So it's little things like that. With these newer builds, you'll see more integrated technology as well as being eco-friendly as well. A lot of these newer homes and apartments have like solar paneling. They've got inbuilt green tech, which is something you won't see in these older buildings. But yeah, again, I think it's up to personal preference.
Yeah, effectively, if you're buying an apartment, that's just what I'm relating things to right now at the moment. I suppose a house is a little bit different, but in terms of an apartment, you might be in an older complex, but you can fit out inside however you want, really. So if you do want the tech installed in there, if you do want lots of glass and shiny surfaces, then that's effectively your style, and you can fit it out however you like, whether you're in an older style building or not.
Yeah. Look, I'm always going to be biased. I do love the older buildings with stained glass and the red brick, but
My parents are in an old house, and I can tell you just from growing up there myself, like all those years ago, there are a lot of issues with that, which you wouldn't find in a more modern house now. Think of like the pest in building things that happen around there up in Eleanor Heights. So there's a lot of dampness up there, so a lot of mold, a lot of timber, kind of just getting old and starting to erode, that kind of thing. So pros and cons again.
I know, and the reason I also started thinking about this because I was watching Current Affair yesterday, and if anyone was watching it, they would have seen there was a home that had a boulder wall, and it fell down into their house, and then insurance wouldn't cover it because they said it didn't meet the current standards, but then they were also saying that the time it was built, it did meet the standards. So Current Affair just started this whole conversation.
Well, back in the day, you could do a whole lot more than you can now, right? So if you think of 80s buildings, even prior to that, there wasn't really that many restrictions around how high you go. So you could build out your neighbor's view.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And since things have started to become much more regulated, they have put a lot more restrictions into place into what you can and can't do.
I know. I think I'd love to leave today with just some pros and cons for each one. So new versus old. So old for me, obviously, I love the aesthetics of old buildings. You might get a lot more structural integrity in these older brick buildings. But then with new, I think you can also get lots of great access to a lot of common facilities. And also, they're just clean. Like, you look at these, they're just like polished, and balconies.
Yeah.
They have balconies, which is rare. And how about you, Anthony? What's
so
your
pros
go away?
and cons, okay. Oh, well, I think my go away will be we won't pair it back to wine, but look, it's an asset, whether you have an old build or a new one. Just look after it, take care of it, and it will last the test of time.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to leave it with.
Yeah.
Just look after your stuff and make it last.
Make it last. I know. And so, well, I hope everyone has a lovely Wednesday. We were going to say enjoy the sunny weather, but it's a bit different.
I think that's what got me confused in the video. I saw that it was such a nice day outside, and then I actually looked outside, and it's really, really miserable.
Yeah.
So happy hump day, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.